Okay, year 5. So we've got chapter 27. Okay, schnortle snort. Um, and Evie is going to read some of this with us again. Okay, so um, Evie, do you want to start?
Okay. I don't understand. He was here before, said Virgo. He's not in the house, said Aphrodite, running back to the circle of worried immortals. And I can't find Josie either. The back door was open. Aphrodite and
Athene and
Hypnos
Phaetus.
searched the farms for Josie, the order of Zeus. The gate was shut. She can't have gone far. The two gods nodded and ran off in opposite direction across the fields. It's been hours, said Virgo, looking gravely at him.
Zeus.
It's all my fault. I should have had stayed with him. The jacuzzi isn't even that comfortable. I can't tell you where the bubbles went. I'm sure it will all be fine, said Zeus,
Unconvincingly.
Where could he be? Look from Amy, Virgo shut suddenly. It's not about you right now, babe, said Hermes. No, you're up, said Virgo, returning the forgotten icon to Hermes. You put Elliot on it. Remember, you can find him. Mega Boss cheered Hermes in his fingers, punching an icon with lightning speed. Where are you, mate?
Josie, Zeus exclaimed. Her mortals ran over to where Athene was escorting a shaking Josie in her arms. Aphrodite rubbed Josie's frozen hands in hers, while Zeus put his jacket around her shoulders. I found her roaming around the field, said Athene, alone with this. Athene handed her father the discarded imperial crown, minus the Earthstone. They exchanged a worried glance. I don't... What have I done? Cried Josie, pulling at her hair as the tears ran down her face. In her other hand was the contract for sale for Home Farm. It says Where's Ellie? I can't find him. It's okay, Josie. We're here now, soothed Athene, as Zeus gently put the papers from Josie's trembling hands. We'll find him, I promise. I know, said Zeus, rifling through the contract. Poor Elliot, why didn't he tell us? Let me see, said Athene, reading the document aghast. No, that awful woman, how could she? Not being funny, said Hermes, hitting his eye gob with his palm. Look at me isn't working. No signal, said Aphrodite. It's not that, babe. It said it's found Elliot, said Hermes. But it says he's in the underworld. That can't be right. Let me see, said Virgo, grabbing the eye god. It's insisting, said Hermes, as Virgo threw the device back to him. Why would he go down there? Thanatos, said Zeus grimly. Elliot's desperate. I should have seen the signs. We have to get to him. We have to get him out of there. Seriously, said Hermes. But how? We can't go to the underworld. The wishing pearl, cried Aphrodite. We can wish him home. It's already been used once today, said Athene. You said Thanatos can't kill him. But there are plenty of other things he can do, said Zeus. Virgo, you're the only one of us who can travel to the underworld. You're going to have to... I think she already has, said Athene, looking at the open gate and the silver dot on the horizon that was sprinting towards the river.
Can I go? Can't you go any faster? Virgo yells at Charon. Listen, it ain't my fault where the river works. All along, the archon, said Charon, as they rode along the gloomy river Leaf, and that's too not a very
average speed
check. And doing my head in, you need to have word with the council. Anyway, you don't need me. Could just whiz down here in your starboard. It's a constellation, screamed Virgo, and I can't unless I want to lose my Cardia and spend the rest of my shortless days as a mortal. What were you thinking to taking Elliot to Thanatos? It just takes the job, mate. No one's business. You're doing what the one said.
Doing what to whom?
Sharon. All I ask is routine and to pay your fare.
Specify.
Your routine, and you don't be sick in my boat. It's a nightmare, and so I'll vomit on the floorboards.
Fine. Just hurry up, hissed Virgo, looking along the banks of the Leaf for any sign of her lost mortal friend. Next stop, Cave of Sleep and Death, announced Charon. Elliot, Elliot, where are you? Shouted Virgo along the murky riverbank. Oh, this is no good. I can't see a thing. If only I could use my glow... Virgo's mind wrestled with itself. Would that count as breaking the rules? Her face screwed up with indecision. I know that feeling, said Charon softly. You do? Said Virgo. What shall I do? Get yourself some concentrate prune juice, said Charon brightly. Clears out constipation like Daedalus's dynamite. You're no help, huffed Virgo. Look, it's only a tiny power and there are no mortals to see. She cautiously pulled her palms apart to illuminate her body and cast a ray of starlight over the riverbank. Where are you? She moaned. Suddenly, her glow caught a glimmer on the riverbank, sending tiny rainbows bursting through the darkness. It was the Earthstone, and just beyond it lay Elliot's comatose body. There he is, shouted Virgo. Over there. Charon still steered the boat to the shore, and Virgo bounded to Elliot's side. Elliot, she screamed, shaking his body. Elliot, wake up. She looked around for any sign of Thanatos or his twin, but the unconscious boy was the only life there, although it didn't look as though he had much life in him. Virgo turned Elliot over and slapped his pale cheeks, but he lay motionless in her arms. She put her face to his chest, an unpleasant sensation fluttering around her own. Her nose caught a scent, and she sniffed Elliot's face. Leith water, she cried. I can smell it on his breath. We've got to get to him before it's too late. How fast can you get back to Earth? You saw the state of the traffic, darling. It could take an hour or more, said Charon. He doesn't have an hour, cried Virgo. If that water gets into his blood, I don't know what to do. Elliot, come on, Elliot, you have to wake up.
The Elliot didn't flicker. He needed the gods if Virgo was going to save him. He had only one option. It must be the right thing to do. Surely the council would understand. Oh no, snort.
Oh, snort.
Yelled Virgo, throwing her arms wide and transformed into her constellation. Scooped Ella up in a starry glow, whizzed past Charon in his boat and raced around at top speed. Elliot shouted Zeus, seeing the unconscious boy floating down to home farm in Pharaoh's constellation. In a mad scramble of arms and hands, the immortals lifted Elliot down and laid him on the ground. He drank water from the lathe, cried Virgo. Bleating, I tried to get him here as fast as I could, but we have to get a water out for him, Father. Put your hands like this, commanded Athene, placing her hands on Elliot's ribs. When I nod, gently press down on his rib case, and as Hermes shot into the air to check that Josie was still safely in the farmhouse. Athene started blowing a rhythmic breath into Elliot's mouth, signaling to Zeus to pump his chest. Come on, Elliot, panted Zeus. Spit out here. Come on, back to us.
The other immortals stood frozen around Elliot's body, barely drawing breath as Athene and Zeus tried to force the water of oblivion from Elliot's body. They looked on in desperate hope, watching for a flicker of consciousness, a movement, a sound, any sign that Elliot was going to wake up. But the pale boy lay comatose on the floor and gave not so much as a finger twitch in response to the gods' desperate efforts to revive him. After several endless minutes, Athene stopped her breath. It's too late, she said quietly. Zeus put a heavy hand on her shoulder. Virgo hung her head. She was experiencing another unpleasant new sensation in her chest, a kind of hollow, twisting feeling that spread darkness around her body and forced drops of liquid out of her eyes. As the leakage ran down her face, she had never felt so suboptimal. A tear-stained Aphrodite forced her way to Elliot's side. Call that a kiss of life, she screamed wildly, pushing her father and sister out of the way. Come on, Ellie, time to come home. And with a tearful sob, Aphrodite lifted Elliot's head from the ground and planted an enormous and very long kiss square on his pale lips. Everything was silent, the still air broken only by Virgo's sobs. Zeus pulled her to him. He's at peace, he said gently. He's been through so much, said Athene, biting back the tears that shone down from her brown eyes. He's a hero, said Hephaestus, shaking his head. He's blushing, said Hermes, not being funny or anything. Everyone craned their necks to stare at Elliot's face. Hermes was right. The face that had been a sicky shade of grey just moments before was become steadily more scarlet, as if it were being filled from the chin with cherryade. "Ellie!" cried Aphrodite, breaking from the kiss. "Ellie, are you there?" With an almighty belch, Elliot sat bolt upright and spewed the leaf water volcanically out of his body. "Elliot!" screamed Virgo, freeing herself from Zeus's embrace and hurtling towards her friend, knocking him flying with a diving hug, and impulsively kissing him on the cheek with relief. "I preferred it when she did," croaked Elliot, still gasping for air, now rubbing a sore head from Virgo's enthusiastic welcome. "Ellie!" screamed Aphrodite, diving in as well to hug him senseless. "Epic bosh!" yelled Hermes, joining the fray. "Give the boy some air, for goodness sake," said relieved Athene, wiping a tear from her eye. "Oh, what the heck!" She too threw herself at the pile of people on the ground and gave Elliot a delighted squeeze. "Good show, old girl," said Zeus softly to Virgo, who beamed with pride. When Elliot was finally allowed to his feet, he slunk over to Zeus and handed him the Earthstone, with his eyes glued to the ground. Zeus lifted Elliot's chin and answered his guilty glance with a reassuring smile. Now was not the time for words. Not those ones. Hermes' eye god rang in the background. "Virgo, babe, call for you," he said. "It's the Zodiac Council." "Ah," said Virgo with a satisfied smile as Hermes projected the hologram of the council table into the evening air. "Calling to congratulate me, no doubt. Hello, everyone." "Virgo!" roared Pisces with a look that didn't look very congratulatory at all. "I thought we made ourselves perfectly clear. You are forbidden from using your constellation powers." "I was, however," said Virgo. "It seems that you have developed a callous disregard for authority," huffed Aries. "The rules are there to be obeyed." "Yeah, but," stammered Virgo. "There will be no more buts from you, young lady," shouted Taurus. "But I have a big but." "You're not wrong," muttered Leo as the other Zodiac councillors sniggered behind their papers. "She saved my life," said Elliot, looking gratefully at his friend.
"Silence!" shouted
Pisces.
Virgo, this is a very serious indeed. You have proven once again that you cannot be trusted to follow a simple set of rules. Of course I can. I just said that. Just what demands silence. It's just that. Maybe sometimes on a certain, extremely rare occasion, when no other available, perhaps our rules suck.
Viable alternative presents itself. Then, and only then, perhaps,
our rules suck. Virgo blurted out immediately, clasping her hands to her mouth. The council gasped in horror at Aphrodite and Hermes, high-fived in the background. "I can see you had been spending too much time around mortals and these strange,
lawless ways," said Scorpion.
Scorpion.
"Indeed," said Aquarius. "Well, let's see how you manage amongst them on a more permanent basis." "Now, hang on a minute," said Zeus. "She was only trying to—" "I'm sorry, Your Majesty," said Pisces, "but Virgo has left us no alternative. Or staples. We can't find a single one. Virgo, constellation of the Zodiac Council and former guardian of the stationery cupboard, I hereby strip you of your cardia. You'll be suspended from immortality pending a formal trial upon completion of the forms X for Surf, recategorizing of an immortal, VF for GL, breaking of an arbitrary rule, and GH7 for P, because we feel like it." "No, please," cried Virgo as a thin stream of stars appeared around her neck and unfastened her cardia. "We will fight this," shouted Athene, as the cardia came away from Virgo's neck and floated up into the sky. "Mate," said Hermes, trying unsuccessfully to grab it midair. "Give it back to her, you bureaucratic bumhead," yelled Aphrodite. "You can make the case at your trial," said Pisces, "but until then, Virgo will live her life as a mortal, with all the dangers and discomforts that brings."
But that's not fair," said Virgo. "Weekly life isn't fair," said Pisces, as hologram faded away. "As you're about to find out, Google Virgo."
Goodbye.
Virgo.
Okay, so there is chapter 27. Okay, and we'll hear the rest of the book shortly. So you guys.